SERAP sues President MUHAMMADU BUHARI over failure to reverse unlawful electricity tariff hike. Police Service Commission orders federal government to stop 10,000 constables' salaries. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI to lead APC campaign in Bauchi. On business, bank customers decry scarcity of redesigned Naira notes. And on the international scene, 10 dead in Lunar New Year shooting in California. And on sport, Pesero unveils plan to actualize AFCON targets. Hello, welcome to Standard Voice Television News Channel. I'm Svtv. The Socio-Economic Right and Accountability Project has filed a suit against President MUHAMMADU BUHARI over the failure to reverse the unlawful, unjust and unreasonable increase in electricity tariff and to prop the spending of public funds as investment and bailouts to discos and gencos since 2005. Joined in the suit as respondent are the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, the National Electricity Regulatory Commission and the Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading PLC. In the suit filed last Friday at the Federal High Court, Lagos, SERAP is asking the court to compel President Buhari to direct the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to reverse the unlawful, unjust and unreasonable increase in electricity tariff. The group said the increase in electricity tariff failed to follow due process of law, saying it is entirely inconsistent and incompatible with the provision of the Nigerian Constitution of 1999, the Electricity Power Sector Forum Act and the country's international human rights obligations. It said the increase is unjustful, especially given the unreasonable, insufficient and poor quality of electricity in the country. The Police Service Commission has urged the Accountant General of the Federation to halt the capture of 10,000 constables who recently graduated from police training colleges on the integrated payroll and personnel system. The Commission stated that the police officers had not been issued their letters of appointment and should not be enrolled on the payment portal. Our correspondent, Kusum, has more.
According to the Public Services Rules, public officers not captured on the IPPIS cannot be paid salaries and other emoluments. The developments followed the alleged refusal of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, to submit their names to the PSC for vetting on the grounds that he was empowered by the Police Act 2020 to recruit constables into the force. The Commission has also written to President MUHAMMADU BUHARI and the head of service, Folashade Yemi Eshan, about the enrollment of 20,000 police officers on the salary portal without letters of appointment. The face-off between the police authorities and the Commission is a spillover of their supremacy fight over the right to recruit constables. Though the Court of Appeal September 30, 2022 ruled that the Commission had the constitutional mandate to recruit constables, the NPF had gone ahead with the recruitment process in defense of the court order. Kusum Muhammad reporting for Standard Voice Television News.
The Minister of Transportation, Mu'azu Jaji Sambo, has pledged the support of the Ministry of Transportation to the Nigerian Port Authority on its initiative on staff welfare. The Minister pledged that at the 2022 Year-Long Service Merit Award of the Nigerian Port Authority. Mr. Sambo further congratulated the awardees and the entire workers of the NPA for their teamwork and contributions to the success being recorded. He recorded that he had, during his maiden visit to NPA, commended the Managing Director for his performance and was glad that he had not relented in his effort, especially in the aspect of staff welfare. He added that the celebration demonstrates the Managing Director and his team understanding toward organization, saying an organization that wants to create and sustain superior performance must put people first. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit said its ban on cash withdrawal for all federal and state government is to help governors and not to fight them. The unit made this known in a statement by its chief media analyst Ahmad Diko hours after the Nigerian Governors Forum faulted the January 5, 2023 announcement by the NFIU directing banks to stop executing demand for cash from public accounts from March 1, 2023. The recent NFIU advisory and guidelines on cash transaction were simply outside the NFIU's legal remit and mandate. The NFG also set up a 6-member committee to engage the Central Bank of Nigeria in addressing anomalies and the country's monetary management and financial systems. President Muhammadu Buhari will return to hosting for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his running mate Kasim Shettima, according to a campaign program released by the Secretary of the Presidential Campaign Council, James Falake. The president is expected to lead the presidential and governorship campaign for the All Progressive Congress in Bauchi State. The rally will take place earlier than other rallies, as the president is also expected in Lagos to begin a 2-day visit. In Lagos, President Buhari will commission the Lekki Dil Seaport, a public-private partnership venture involving the federal and Lagos state government and a private company, Tolaram. The Atiku Okowa campaign organization has called on President Muhammadu Buhari as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces to protect the integrity of the Nigerian military as well as the sovereignty of Nigerians by summoning a meeting of the National Security Council over the establishment of a parallel army by the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The call was made in a statement signed by Atiku Okowa campaign organization spokesperson Kola Olagbandiyan. Our correspondent Umakoso Muhammad has more.
The statement said Nigerians are concerned that since the public outcry over the exposed design by the APC and its presidential candidate to use a parallel army, codenamed the Jagaban Army, to undermine the national security, affront the Nigeria Army, cause confusion, disrupt the 2023 elections and derail the democratic process. Neither the APC campaign or Asiwaju Tinubu have disowned the formation or its nefarious plans. It said it is even more worrisome in the face of undenied allegations in the public space that the Jagaban Army is training and arming thugs with dangerous weapons in secret locations across the country, ostensibly to use the illegal formation to undermine Nigerian security forces and unleash mayhem on Nigerians during the elections. It added that Nigerians have been wondering how a political party, or any candidate for that matter, can create a parallel army and adorn them with uniforms as well as ranks within a sovereign state, as if Nigeria has become Asiwaju Tinubu's fifth term. Umukusta Muhammad reporting for Standard Voice Television.
The Nigerian Union of Journalists Zamfara State Correspondent Chapel has called on 3 trials of government, wealthy individuals, groups and organizations to save the life of a 9-month-old baby who is suffering with impoperate anus. Chairman of the chapel, Comrade Sani Haruna Dusema, made the call while presenting the donation of 50,000 naira cash to the parent of the baby as assistant for his surgery at Saminaka area of Gusau. Our correspondent, Zainab Abdulwasiu, has more.
Comrade Sani Dusema said the child was born with imperforate anus, which makes it difficult for him to excrete out what he ate, necessitating his parent to take him to Federal Medical Center FMC Gusau for medication, but later transferred to Usman Danfodio Teaching Hospital Sokoto. Father of the child, Malan Lawali Ibrahim, told newsmen that 300,000 naira was spent at Udu for the child to have a temporary excretory system where he will excrete. According to him, he was left with no option other than to sell his motorcycle, which he is using for commercial purposes, to feed the family in order to save the life of the child, as his relations have contributed the little they have, as they are all on equal shoulders. Malan Lawali therefore called on Zamfara state government, wealthy individuals, Zakat and Endowment Board, corporate organizations as well as Medical Doctors Association of Nigeria to assist him to save the life of this child. Zainab Abdulwasiu reporting for Standard Voice Television.
The Central Bank of Nigeria's Zamfara State branch has organized a sensitization campaign for small and medium-scale traders in Gusau Central Market in respect of ordinary note deadline. The theme of the sensitization campaign was "Don't wait till January 31st, 2023. Speaking at the event, the Comptroller CBN Gusau branch, Malam Buhari Abbas, said the essence of the advocacy was to enlighten the general public on the stipulated time set aside by CBN on the validity of the old note, which will cease to be legal tender on 31st January 2023. Malam Buhari further explained that the 31st January deadline set aside by the CBN will not be extended and urged the general public to disregard any rumors about the extension.
We are encouraging people to start using their accounts and use alternative channels instead of using hard cash for their transactions. That's one of the major essence of the policy.
The comptroller tasked marketers as well as small and medium-scale traders to, as a matter of urgency, deposit their old Naira notes to the nearest commercial banks before the deadline. He added that the CBN had directed all its branches and commercial banks to work from Monday to Saturday during the transition period to enable citizens to deposit their old Naira notes. And on business, some bank customers have decried scarcity of the redesigned 1,500 and 200 Naira note in deposit money banks and other financial institutions. Deadline. This is coming barely 9 days to the January 31st deadline to stop the use of the old Naira note of the redesigned denominations as legal tender. The customers who spoke to newsmen in Abuja explained that banks keep supplying their customers with the old notes, which will soon cease to be legal tender. According to Ibrahim Abbas, a civil servant, the banks have no reason to load their automatic teller machines with the old Naira notes after customers have deposited them in their account as advised by the authorities. Mr. Suleiman Ali, another bank customer, said the delay in flooding the banks with the new Naira notes close to the deadline meant that some people would lose some of their money. Meanwhile, the Apex Bank said it has mandated the DMBs to ensure issuance of the new Naira notes strictly through their automated teller machine. It said the mandate was to ensure that distribution of the new currency note was fair, transparent, and evenly spread across the country. All marketers have stated that the cost of the commodity would cross 800 Naira per litre since subsidy on PMS is removed as the scarcity of petrol continued. Industry operators had repeatedly stated that the high cost of subsidy on petrol was a burden on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and was contributory to the prolonged crisis in the downstream oil sector. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, recently suggested that the government should gradually withdraw subsidy on PMS, stressing that the budgetary allocation for subsidy will end in June. But all marketers told newsmen that while it would be advisable to remove subsidy, Nigerians should know that the cost of petrol would cross 800 Naira per litre since the commodity was no longer subsidized, urging the federal government to ensure all the necessary measures to an infrastructure to ensure a less stressful subsidy removal regime were put in place before implementing the decision. And on the international scene,
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
LA County Sheriff's Department Homicide Bureau Captain Andrew Meyer briefed newsmen that 10 people have died and at least 10 others were wounded in a mass shooting at a dance club in a largely Asian city in Southern California, with the suspect still at large hours later. The gunman opened fire as the local community were celebrating Lunar New Year at the venue in Monterey Park, with witnesses saying he shot indiscriminately with a semi-automatic weapon. Captain Andrew Meyer said officers had responded to emergency calls and found people pouring out of the premises. He said the officers made entry to the location and located additional victims. The Monterey Park Fire Department responded to the scene and treated the injured and pronounced 10 of the victims deceased at the scene. There are at least 10 additional victims that were transported to numerous local hospitals and are listed in various conditions from stable to critical. And on sports, Jose Pesore, head coach of the Nigerian men's national team, has once again said his ambition is to lead Nigeria to glory at the next African Cup of Nations scheduled to take place in Ivory Coast. The Portuguese tactician had previously promised to bring smiles on the face of Nigerians by winning the long-coveted trophy after the country last won it in 2013 under the guidelines of late Stephen Keshi. The 62-year-old tactician who took over the Eagles' job last May has turned his attention away from the disappointment of not being at the World Cup in Qatar after the Super Eagles under the Aston Eguavoen failed to qualify for the Mondial and said the goal was to become champions of Africa again. The most recent step in Pesiero's plan involved a trip to England where he watched a number of games and visited several of his stars in their clubs. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, here's a recap of the major headlines. SERAP sues President MUHAMMADU BUHARI over failure to reverse unlawful electricity tariff hike. Police Service Commission orders federal government to stop 10,000 constable salaries. President MUHAMMADU BUHARI to lead APC campaign in Bauchi. On business, bank customers decry scarcity of redesigned Naira notes. And on the international scene, 10 dead in Lunar New Year shooting in California. And on sport, Pesiero unveils plan to actualize AFCON targets. That's the news. Thanks for watching. I'm Fawzi Ibrahim. Do have a nice day.